kimchi tacos, butter chicken pizza, sushi burritos. You know them, you probably tried them. And they represent one of the most delicious and sometimes, fiery debates happening in food right now.
Definitely.
Are they like the exciting future of global cuisine, or do they cross a line into cultural disrespect? Today, we're taking a deep dive into exactly that. We're going to unpack the main arguments around fusion cuisine, pulling out the key insights from sources like fusion cuisine, innovation versus disrespect, fusion food, culinary genius or disrespect, and fusion versus tradition, a culinary debate.
Right.
Our mission is pretty straightforward. Help you, our listener, get your head around the nuances of this really fascinating culinary conversation.
Yeah, think of us as guides, kind of sorting through these different takes.
Exactly. So let's start with the upside. When we talk about fusion, what is it that genuinely excites people? What's the case for it as, pure culinary innovation?
Well, what's really interesting is that proponents see fusion as a completely natural, almost logical extension of culinary creativity. It kind of reflects our increasingly interconnected world, doesn't it?
Okay.
Think about it. Chefs are constantly playing with flavors, textures, techniques, finding these unexpected harmonies between traditions that maybe on the surface seem totally different.
Right, harmonies.
Yeah, it's really about opening up new culinary dialogues. Mm-hmm. And if we look at the bigger picture, fusion mirrors globalization itself. It acts as this powerful symbol of cross-cultural exchange, maybe even collaboration. Mm-hmm. But here's where it gets really insightful, I think. Fusion challenges our whole idea of traditional food. Things we think of as ancient, like tomatoes in Italian pasta, or chilies in Indian curries. Those were once radical foreign additions. Mm. Fusion today is, in a way, just the latest chapter in food's constantly evolving story.
Huh. So purity is maybe not really a thing.
It's often more complex than we think. Traditions are always changing, always absorbing influences. So fusion is kind of continuing that natural process. And when it's done thoughtfully, with respect, fusion can actually build a deeper appreciation for multiple cultures, not diminish them.
How so?
Well, it can introduce familiar elements, to make global flavors feel more accessible. It can expand palates, spark curiosity, get people to explore more deeply later on.
That's a really powerful point about tradition maybe being a moving target. I mean, if traditions have always evolved through blending, you mentioned things like Peruvian Japanese maki cuisine or Tex-Mex.
Exactly.
Then give us a concrete example of this culinary storytelling that fusion can do today.
Okay, the Korean BBQ taco is a perfect example, a really common one.
Right.
You've got that savory, marinated bulgogi, the crisp, tangy kimchi, all wrapped up in a warm tortilla. It's playful, sure, but it's also incredibly satisfying.
Yeah, sounds good.
And it introduces these flavors to people who maybe might not have tried traditional Korean food or even certain Mexican dishes on their own.
So it's like a gateway.
Sort of, yeah. It's not about replacing those traditions, not at all. It's about creating something new that acts as an invitation, maybe, expanding the culinary map and offering this unique kind of storytelling on a plate. The potential for these bridges. It feels almost limitless.
That makes a lot of sense. But, okay, every exciting innovation seems to have its critics, right? And fusion is definitely no exception.
Definitely not.
While it can be a celebration, it's not always that simple, is it? What happens when that storytelling feels less like a celebration and more like, wow, something else? What are the big concerns here?
This is the crux of the other side of the argument. And it's critical. Critics worry deeply about losing authenticity and maybe more pointedly about cultural appropriation.
Appropriation, right.
Yeah. The fear is that fusion can dilute or even misrepresent the original meaning, the context, the real significance of traditional dishes. It risks kind of erasing centuries of heritage just for novelty or a quick trend.
Okay, erasing heritage.
And there's also the risk of it being superficial. When fusion is driven more by marketing or how it looks on Instagram, without proper knowledge or real respect for the origins, it can end up being a pretty shallow, maybe even insulting representation of a culture's food. And this ties right into cultural appropriation. Taking elements from another culture without acknowledging their history, without showing respect, that can feel exploitative.
Yeah.
Especially if the culture it comes from has faced marginalization.
I see.
These rapid fusion trends might even start to overshadow or replace the authentic dishes, threatening the survival of traditional recipes, traditional techniques, things that are really integral to cultural identity.
Wow.
And another crucial point. If the voices from the originating culture aren't involved in creating these fusion dishes, It just reinforces existing power imbalances instead of fostering genuine understanding.
So, okay, if the innovation side is about expanding, what exactly gets lost when, say, a traditional dish is pulled out of its original context and adapted? Can you flesh that out a bit more?
Absolutely. Let's go back to that Korean bulgogi taco, but look at it critically this time.
Okay.
So traditional Korean bulgogi isn't just marinated meat, right? It has a specific preparation method, often specific side dishes, banchan. It holds deep cultural significance within a meal. It's often shared, maybe cooked right at the table. It's part of a whole dining ritual.
Right, it's an experience.
Exactly. So when it's reduced to just a filling for a taco, critics argue that sometimes, well, the true essence, the cultural fabric of that dish, can get lost. The question then becomes, are we really appreciating the original dish in its fullness, or are we just using bulgogi as a kind of trendy ingredient, stripping away its context?
Just borrowing the flavor profile, maybe?
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah.
The biggest concern here is really about integrity. Is that original integrity maintained? Sometimes, that idea of purity or authenticity gets sacrificed just to be different, just to be novel. And that can lead to dishes that are just confused, they lack a strong identity, or maybe they're just not as satisfying as either the original dishes they came from.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If we're sometimes valuing novelty over that deep-rooted legacy.
It's a tough balance.
So given these really strong points on both sides, innovation versus respect. How do we navigate this? This is incredibly complex space. How do you separate genuine inspiration from something less ethical? How can fusion be done right, celebrating rather than just commodifying?
Yeah, it's a huge question. And I think it really comes down to intent, first and foremost, and deep, deep research.
Okay, intent and research.
It's not about just randomly mashing ingredients together because they sound cool. Ethical fusion needs a serious dedication to understanding the history, the ingredients, the techniques, and the cultural significance of each part you're bringing together. The aim has to be paying homage, right? Not exploiting. The goal should be creating something new that still echoes the spirit of its origins. Maybe it even inspires someone to go seek out the traditional dish afterward.
That makes sense. Paying homage.
And then there's proper attribution and ideally real collaboration. Giving credit where it's due is just fundamental. Partnerships with chefs from the original cultures. Or at the very least, clearly acknowledging the roots of your ingredients and techniques.
Yeah.
That can start to address those power imbalances we talked about. It can foster what you might call mutual growth. True collaboration means both cultures are represented, they're valued equally, there's mutual respect, shared ownership maybe of the creative process, and even the benefits.
Okay, so collaboration is key, but what about those power dynamics you mentioned?
That's a really significant piece. There's a totally valid concern that often it's chefs from dominant cultures who get praise for elevating or modernizing dishes, and they can charge higher prices for them, while the original creators, the communities where these dishes originated, might struggle for recognition or fair compensation.
Ah, I see. Like a celebrity chef discovering something.
Exactly that scenario. They might rebrand it, sell it at a premium, while the community that's been making it for generations gets overlooked. That's really the heart of that commodifying versus celebrating debate. Is it lifting up the culture or just taking from it?
That's a really crucial distinction.
And finally, there's just the sheer skill involved. Good fusion requires immense skill. You arguably need to master both cuisines before you even try to merge them.
Right, you need the foundation.
Otherwise, you don't get harmony, you get, flavor collisions, as one source put it. Just a jarring mix of ingredients without a clear, cohesive vision. It just doesn't work.
Okay, so intent, research, attribution, collaboration, awareness of power, and real skill.
Yeah.
A lot to consider.
It is. It's not simple.
So bringing this all together, what does this mean for you, our listener, as you're out there eating, exploring, trying new things? Food is so personal, such a powerful connection to culture and identity. This deep dive really shows just how complex that can be.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe the takeaway is this. Next time you encounter a fusion dish, pause for a second. Consider not just the flavors hitting your palate, but maybe the stories behind them, the hands that prepared them. Ask yourself, how does understanding its origins, or maybe the lack of clear origins, change how you appreciate that dish? How does it change how you see the cultures it represents or borrows from?
That's a great question to carry with you. Whether you find yourself drawn more to pure tradition or to those daring fusion combinations, we really just encourage you to explore further.
Yeah.
Seek out those authentic traditional dishes, learn their history, understand their context, and then, if you're curious, Mindfully experience well-executed fusion, the kind that really feels like it's paying genuine homage to its roots.
Well said.
Thanks for diving deep with us today.